welcome back. I'm gonna try to keep it as detailed and short as possible. So first things first, you gotta know that I'm not affiliated in any kind of way. Just wanna share my thoughts with you guys.
And girls.
But okay, let's get started. Some info on my setup. The biggest one to mention probably is the battery, because I'm running the Sanyo 19.2 amp hours. It's a 10S4P setup. I'm also running the street setup wheels, the 19mm orange ones. They have an ABEC style core. I don't know what the durometer is on those. They have a width of 6 centimeters. And like shown before, I'm running an ABEC style pulley, 36T, CNC'd. It has a 2-to-4 gear ratio. The motors are big and juicy. They're bigger than the Evolve ones. They're the 63, 68, 170 kV ones. The charger I got, it's the 4 amp fast charger. The basic one is 3 amps. DKPs, the double kingpins are forged trucks. They're 34 centimeters in width. The bushings I'm running are still the standard bushings. The bearings are the same. And the weight of the total board, it's kind of heavy. It's 11.7 kilograms, so that's really heavy for a board, but that's because of the bigger battery. So for my first impression, let's start with the looks of the board. I really like the premium and well-built look and feel to the board. It has a beautiful, clean, really refined look to it. Also, with every new board I get in, I always double check the screws and bolts. But with this board, it seemed not necessary because all the bolts, all the screws seem to be tight enough. They also used Loctite. That's a really big plus. I like the drawing design on the deck, which brings me to the next step, the grip tape. It uses a spray-on grip tape. It's a first timer for me. Many people don't like spray-on grip tape. I have no problems at all with it for now. It hasn't really teared up, but I gotta say, actually, it feels pretty good. This in combination with the deep W concave really locks in those feet nice and tight. And if you don't like spray-on grip tape, you can always sand it up a little and put on your own grip tape. Next step is the deck, of course. It uses, like I just said, a deep W concave. It's made of 9 layers, 7 layers of Canadian maple and 2 layers of bamboo, which makes for
a pretty stiff, hard deck.
The stiff deck, it's no problem at all. This in combination with the double kingpin trucks and the soft and grippy wheels seem to absorb a lot of shocks and bumps, so I had no problems at all with that. The next thing, the double kingpin trucks, DKPs. A lot of people hate them, less people like them. This is the first time I'm using DKP trucks, and I gotta say, I like them. I had no issues or problems at all at maximum speed. It felt really stable because of the lower center point of gravity, because it's a drop-through deck, and also the deep concave, and also because it's a stiff deck. But I had no speed wobbles at all. What I did had was at the start of the first ride, it felt like the board was really sluggish. It didn't respond well to my input. But this is probably because 1, the heavy weight, 2, the bushings had to wear in, and 3, I needed to get used to those DKPs. But after a few kilometers, miles, I really got used to the feel of the board, and it really feels great. The DKPs are also using 2 times each front and back, a barrel and a cone bushing. The barrel is on each time on the board side, and the cone is each time on the road side. The wheels, like I mentioned before, they are really soft and really grippy. I don't know the durometer, but compared to other generic and standard wheels that come with these boards, they feel really good. They use an ABEC core, as mentioned before. Next, the bushings, which is pretty important. I don't know which durometers they are using, but I contacted Vic a few days ago to figure this out. I'm still waiting for a response. My weight is around 70 to 75 kilograms. To my feeling and my weight, with backpack that is, of course, could have a little better response and better rebound to center out. Next thing, the motors. The good thing that they're so big is that they don't actually really get that hot. The torque of the motors is really good. It's better than my onboard W2 and even better than my Wowgo 3X. The braking, which I previously mentioned in the video, they're really good, which is actually one of the most important things in e-skating, I think. The throttle itself, it feels really responsive and has a really nice curve, a smooth curve, so no complaining there. The battery, from what I can tell, there's no sag at all. The only thing I can tell is that the first 40% of the battery, my top speed is around 42 to 43 kilometers an hour. And after that 40%, it drops down to 40, 41 kilometers an hour. I didn't do a full range test yet, but I did empty the battery a few times now. I didn't notice any sag below 25. So the last thing is the remote. Ergonomics wise, I don't have really any complaints about this. It's bigger than my other remotes. Still prefer the original Hobbywing remote. Perfect size, perfect feel, feels robust, strong, not cheap. Perfect in my hand, good throttle curve. Only could use a rubberized finish and a small display with extra information. Wago's 3X is rubberized, has a small display, is a tad bigger, also feels good in the hand. But this one, yeah, compared to the others, it's bigger, so it doesn't feel that great in my hand. It's not like it's terrible or something, but I prefer the other ones. It has a little cheaper feeling plastic, but right now actually they have the new rubberized one, so I'm curious about that. I only have one real complaint about the remote, and that's the battery life, but I'll get back to that later on. Okay, so next up, pros and cons. Pros. Overly, I'm really happy with the performance of the board, the feel, the touch, the looks, the battery. It's a really great board. The cons, I only have two real cons. One being the remote. It seems that the battery is not big enough to last the whole ride of the battery on my board. That's a design flaw. You could easily bypass this by bringing along a portable battery or something. Also, I have a problem with my odometer and speedometer. It doesn't give the correct values. And of course, yeah, I changed up the gear ratio, the settings, tried changing that up a couple of times, reset it and stuff, but it didn't seem to fix the problem. But I contacted Vic and he told me that he was setting a new remote, so that problem shouldn't be even mention worthy anymore. The other thing is the rubber on the charging port. It really is flimsy. Last con, actually not a really con, it's a personal preference and something I need to get used to, but the W concave. It's, yeah, I never had a concave that deep on all my boards in the past, so I really need to get used to that, but that's probably something that will go away. Things I also want to mention is tweaks I'm gonna do, small tweaks. I'm gonna change up the bearings. I'm gonna change them up for Zealous bearings, the green ones with the built-in spacers. I have them in all my other boards and I'm really happy with those. Also got me some extra belts already. Got them from AliExpress. Did that in the past with other boards. I'm really happy with those, so I put that in the description. Put on shred light mounts for my shred lights. Also, I got me these big, nice purple Evolves 97mm GTR wheels, so I want to put those on, but for that I'm waiting to test the board a little more, and also I want to buy new pulleys, a 40T, to keep the gear ratio in the same perspective. I hope those of the glow wheels fit these wheels. Next thing are the bushings. If you guys know any great setups for this kind of board, let me know, hit me up please. Last but not least, I bought me some SBR rubber to make me some motor bumpers because the board is so heavy, and with the motors coming out of the back, you cannot rest the board on the ground. But now Verreal is actually selling their own motor guards. So if you like a beefier and more robust protection guard, then that's the way to go. But I like my solutions refined and inconspicuous, so you won't even notice that it's there and it does its job. Okay, I think that should wrap it up. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you liked it. If you do, please like and subscribe. If you got any comments, questions, just hit me up in the commentary. I'll try my best to reply and answer them. See you guys.